Schwabble, double, glibber, glabber, schwibble, schwab, glab. Nibble, double, shwibble, schwabble, glibber, glab, schwab. Schwabble, double, glibber, glabber, schwibble, schwab, dab. Nibble, double, shwibble, schwabble, glibber, schwab, glab. Ooh,
Today I'm checking out Creed Reimaginary, Volumes 1 and 2 by Trent Kanuga from All Caps Comics. Came with this trading card and sticker. I picked up the variant covers because I thought they looked cool and they featured more than one artist as a lineup of 90s dudes. You have Trent's character down here, and then Ethan drew Cyberfrog on it, and Matt Martin drew his snowman character. Volume 2 was just the dude like jumping through a portal or whatever. So I didn't know anything about this character, and I didn't do any research beforehand when I read it. I just jumped in, and I think he kind of knew people were going to do that because a lot of it's just a review of everything that's happened in this character's world. It's probably why the book is Reimaginary. I feel like it's just kind of a retelling of everything that happened to this character. All the artwork and story was done by Trent. And the whole thing has a 90s vibe to it. It just feels like something that you would see in the 90s. I see why the character came from that time period. It's all kind of got this big, funky, chunky style. It reminds me of graffiti or something from the 90s. But, you know, kind of cartoony too at the same time. Oh, these pages were really cool. I mean, that one was fantastic. Coloring it on it is awesome. I mean, he did a really good job with all of the artwork on here. But a lot of it is just kind of like he meets this character on a roof, and then they kind of talk about the past and reimagine the past or something. And that's kind of a lot of the story. Apparently the main character, Mark, maybe I think his name is, I don't know. He lives in a normal world, but then he could go into like a dream world or a fantasy world where he controls everything and kind of make up his own shit and creatures or whatever he wants to do. So all this shit right here, it kind of tells you how all that happened and how that came to be and all that. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a kid's book. Because, you know, a kid's book is kind of for learning and shit. I'd say this is in all ages. Maybe 12 and up or something. It's got like cool little funny creatures as like pet. That was the thing that turned into the dragon earlier. I'd say overall though, my biggest gripe would probably be just the lettering itself. Like a page like this, I don't know, it's kind of all over the place. Like I'm like trying to read it and it's just really massive. Like that's a really big bubble. I mean, like overall as a page, when I'm looking at this, the captions, the bubbles are like competing the artwork. Like they're almost outshining it. Like every bubble has to have a drop shadow for some reason. I don't know why he did that. I feel like that was unnecessary. I mean, just put a bubble, you know, that white on black, just creating a lot of contrast. I don't know what the purpose of it was. And it just takes up a lot of room. Like, you know, the bubbles were already taking up room, and now you're adding this more real estate to add to the page. I mean, it's not much, but whatever that is, quarter of an inch, a few centimeters, whatever. I mean, that's going to eat up a lot of your artwork space. I'd like to see this page redone again without giant bubbles everywhere so I could kind of concentrate more on his artwork. They were also placed like really weird, how this kind of like comes up here, and then I get the flow, but then we come down here. I don't know why the bubble needs to be popping out of the panel there. It kind of would work better inside the panel. Don't need to take us out of this panel once we get here. And then you kind of wrap around here. But, throughout the whole book, it's kind of going from where there's a lot of space on the sides, and then there's, like, not much space on the side. It's very inconsistent, and it's probably my only complaint about the book is I wish it was just lettered differently. It just, I don't know, I feel like usually I don't see word bubbles so long like that. Like they would probably, put that word underneath that word, so it's very odd shape. It would happen sometimes too in the book where I'd be reading and then it would kind of like jump to like maybe a word bubble somewhere else, and you kind of like would miss some other word bubbles on the left. They weren't placed the best at times. Like, this one, it's going here and down here. But, I don't know, I feel like it's not taking us through the page. It's just here, then straight down. I see the character here and shit, but, I don't know, I feel like usually the bubbles might go here, then here to take us through the page as opposed to just reading straight down. It's a minor nitpick, but at the same time it's not, because the entire book I just kept thinking about some of these bubbles. And, a lot of times, like when they make sound effects like this, they might make the bubble smaller and outline the word or something, but everything just feels like, used a digital tool and just drew a bubble, like in Clip Studio, and that was it. There was no adjustment. It almost feels like however it looked, that was how it stayed. Again, minor, but like lettering you should never notice. And this one I noticed. So that's volume 1. Sketch at the end by Matt Martin. And some line art. Alright, volume 2 real quick. I don't know if he took a long time in between these two volumes or if some of it was previously done, but I feel somehow he got much better in volume 2. The line work is cleaner. Everything is like, all these bricks back here have just a lot more texture. This is stuff I didn't really notice in that first volume. Also, the lettering got better. Here we get the old guy kind of tells us the history of the world and how it came to be, all the dreamland shit. It's a cool shot. Book had a lot of humor in it too. It's like a lot of meta jokes. Yeah, this looks much better to me for some reason. Might be hard to tell in this video, but like all these dream pages are the actual page background is not white. It is a very soft gray, a warm gray, I'd say. It's all off-white, probably not gray, but it's got a little bit of a warm hue to it. And it looked really cool. Like when I flipped from like standard to this like gray off-white color. I just don't really remember seeing that in a whole lot of books. Usually they just stick with white for gutter. So that's about it. They have an adventure. Some things happen. It's a cool shot. There's a couple double page spreads here and there in the book. They look good. The second half has a lot more action when he gets in the dream world and something starts happening. I don't want to give it away though, so this is a really cool shot. Almost like it's like done in like a different style. Oh yeah, there is a spot somewhere. Oh, right here. I guess he recommends that you listen to the song or something while you read it. But, I mean, he put it at the end and I had already read the book. Oh, too late for that. There's more stuff by Trent, I guess. Trent has a YouTube channel too and does some cool tutorials and I don't know if you could still get this on the Indiegogo campaign, but I'm sure Ethan's probably going to be selling it on his eBay store, Cyberfrog 9, or maybe just search Creed. I would recommend the book. I'd say if you like more lighthearted, fun stuff, it's probably up your alley.
Now get your tail out of here before I kick some deer butt. Better run.